This Raw was kind of a mixed bag for me in the sense that the WWE did some really good things here, some things that made for some really good television that also happened to build very nicely towards their big summer show, SummerSlam, next month. Then they also did some things that were just bad in my opinion, and they did one thing that was just totally unbelievable. I really didn't like the first half hour of this show, and I realize I might be in the minority here, but what a surprise, I'm in the minority when it comes to an opinion. Well, in this case, I feel very justified for thinking this way. Look, I know a lot of people love Paul Heyman and worship the ground he walks on, but here's my thing, is you already had him cut a long promo last week when Lesnar made his return. Did you really need to do another lengthy promo segment with him this week? It's kind of emphasized to me the fact that last week it should have just been the revelation and then end the show. And then this week you do the long promo because it tends to get kind of repetitive after a while. And then even the John Cena portion, and so many people were praising John Cena for his promo work. It was typical John Cena, dinking and dunking and dancing around. And then eventually you get to the super serious part. And sometimes when he gets super serious, he can be quite good. And he was quite good in the super serious portion, but unfortunately by this point in time, by the time we got to it, it was too freaking late. If you were going to do this, in my opinion, have Heyman say some shit and then Cena short, sweet, to the point. You know, all these things you say about Lesnar are true, but my heart is bigger, and I'm going to SummerSlam the champion, and I'm walking out the fucking champion. End scene. But then they decided to prolong this, and for some reason give us the half-ass explanation, that was no explanation at all, of why Cesaro and Heyman even have to split up. Even though I'm no longer a Heyman guy, we've agreed to go our separate ways. Well, for why? For what reason? What purpose? And then you get the Cena-Cesaro match, and I realize a lot of you are going to sit there and say that this was a really good match. It was an awesome opening. To me, I just viewed it as one colossal waste of time. So let me get this straight. We're going to tease the fans by letting them think that Cesaro can actually beat a John Cena, which wasn't going to happen here, especially since Cena's the champion walking into a match at SummerSlam against the guy who ended the streak at WrestleMania. So Cesaro's working like the fucking babyface, and all the dynamics of this are all screwed up, all the while to serve as one big dick tease to what you eventually know is going to happen to John Cena winning. We didn't need this match to get the point across. If anything, in my opinion, you should have had Cesaro come out and John Cena beat the holy freaking hell piss out of him. So that way, if anything, you could insinuate that maybe Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar are getting into Cena's mind a little bit. But no, we had to do the same old bullshit. Long, drawn-out promo segment, long match, where Cena ends up victorious. There's no storytelling elements here, and nothing is really accomplished. I was very happy to see the WWE give Paige and AJ Lee a segment, a promo segment at that, not some stupid match to build up to a match, but a promo segment. It was needed, it was called for, it was appropriate, especially since it involved AJ Lee, your current champion, and your former champion, Paige. There's story here, so do something different to accentuate that story. Do something different to advance that story. And they did here, and this came across very, very well. I do dispute this whole notion of AJ Lee's character saying that she doesn't play childish games. Excuse me, sweetie, your entire character has pretty much been based around playing little childish middle school and high school mind games. With all of that being said, the only thing that bothered me about this segment, because everything else about the segment really worked for me and was really, really good, and I thought made for good TV, are the fucking fans chanting for CM Punk. Just because his wife out there, maybe it's not called for to chant for him. Ding dong, dumb dicks, the guy is gone and maybe not coming back for a long time, if ever. Hashtag deal with it. Chant for AJ Lee. Help AJ Lee. Help Paige. Stop chanting for the fucking guy that's been gone for over 6 months, that picked up his ball and went home. It doesn't seem to bother him, so maybe it should stop bothering you. Part of the thing about the WWE being a corporation is that, to me, at times they can fall into some very bad corporate habits, especially in their product on screen. They get very rigid, very vanilla, very kind of plain and same across the board, very regimented, very everything we do works, even though a lot of the things we don't do work. We'll sit there and tell you that everything works and try to put that corporate spin on it. And I think one of the things that their product can benefit from is a little more spontaneity, frankly. So that's why I loved when they were going to do this 1 hour main event segment. It was supposed to be the big showdown between Brie Bella and Stephanie McMahon. They went in a different direction, and out comes Chris Jericho. Something you didn't see coming. Something that was a surprise. This came across really well. Chris Jericho was on fire here. Obviously, this has storyline reasons for happening, going back years. This was really damn good. This made for good television. This was a good television production decision by the WWE to go in this direction. And it gets booked, Jericho versus Rollins later in the night, which you knew wasn't going to end in a clean fashion. Now, I was hoping, even though they had said that Ambrose was off doing something else, that it was going to be Ambrose that was going to interfere in the match and go after Rollins, and there you go. Instead, the WWE kind of went to me in the frankly boring direction at this point of having the Wyatt family interfere and them taking out Jericho. And my whole thing is that this is a feud that on the surface seems to have so much potentially going for it, and yet the WWE is completely and totally screwing the pooch and dropping the ball on this to the point where I don't even want to see this feud anymore. It's getting quickly approaching that point. Can we please do something different from a creative standpoint other than having Bray Wyatt stand there and watch his two guys fucking beat up Jericho, and then he gives them a Sister Abigail? I talked about it in the past week that I was unsure of the direction the WWE was going to take this new nation, and that I was eagerly anticipating it, but I was also cautious and realistic, understanding that what I might envision for it, what I think is possible for it, and what the WWE has planned for it might be two entirely different things. And based off of what I saw on Raw this week, it kind of fits into that category. You did like no follow-up at all to me with Xavier Woods and Kofi and Big E. None at all. You decide the best way to follow up on what happened last week is to have the three of them out there dressed up, standing ringside for a six-man tag. So let me get this straight. We're going to sit there and do this so that way Kofi and Big E can get a fucking tag title shot? I can't express my disappointment. Yes, it's only a week in and a lot remains to be seen, but that's not an encouraging sign. This has the potential to have a lot of mileage to it. This has the potential to draw some money for the freaking company. Sending them off to get a tag title shot is not going to get the job done, especially when Kofi has had the tag titles before. Especially when Kofi's won multiple mid-card titles. Big E's held the IC title. These are not opportunities that they've been denied. So it makes absolutely no sense for them to fucking align as a group like this if they're just going after a title shot that they probably could get without having to do all of this crap. Oh, WWE, please help me understand this, because I find this to be a big steaming pile of unacceptable bull crap. This is unbelievable. Please tell me what rocket scientist backstage thought it would be a good idea to end Bo Dallas's undefeated streak in singles matches here. For what? For why? What's the purpose? What's the point? Why do this here? It's like the WWE can't fucking help themselves. When they get something that has just a little bit of attraction and a little bit of a steam to it, they find a way to completely yank the rug out from under it and cut the legs out from under it for no fucking reason, no purpose, no big picture, no point. This was Bo Dallas's identity. The fact that in singles matches he was undefeated. This was starting to work. This was starting to get him fucking over. Which, of course, seems to be counterproductive to what the WWE wants to do. Instead of, God forbid, getting unique characters over, you want to find ways to tease them for a little bit and then yank the rug completely out from under them and then make them fucking jobbers. This is ridiculous. There's just no purpose and no point to this. This was stupid, and to me was clearly another example of the WWE being out of touch with their audience. Did you hear the reaction, WWE? Do you think, oopsie daisies, that you might have missed the boat on this a little bit? Just a little bit. I got more to say about this. I'm not going to say it now. You're going to have to watch the Triple Threat video on Sunday to find out what all I have to say about this. But the bottom line is, this was stupid. This was ridiculous. There was no freaking point to it. And of all people, freaking R-Truth. Oh, and the people are going to sit there and say, well, he needed to lose. Now we got to see him be aggressive as a heel. Ah, shut up! I'm glad to see the WWE had second thoughts. They reconsidered. They dug in their heels. I don't give a hell what the hell they decided. The fact is they decided to go back to the well with Rusev and Swagger. And I'm glad to see it because this feud is making for some really good television. And it did again on this week's show. It had the Houston crowd into it. You know, sometimes these simplistic, old school type feeling feuds can still really work. And the Houston crowd in general was really good all throughout Raw, but they were really hot and really on fire here. You know, I like the fact that they might be setting up to a flag match at SummerSlam. I think that's a perfect type of second match in the middle part of a feud between these two guys. Here's a chance for a Swagger to go over where you still protect Rusev. He doesn't get pinned. He doesn't submit. It's just a freaking flag match. And then you give a real reason and purpose for there to be a big blow-off match at Night of Champions where if Rusev wins, you've still given the fans their moment at SummerSlam. That works. This segment here was really good. The whole feud is being built up really well. I'm really enjoying this and eagerly anticipating the match at SummerSlam. With that said, WWE, I understand, Vince, that you have your own political axe to grind. I understand that you don't like Barack Obama. But I assure you, if you were trying to get your heels over, stop having them reference Barack Obama because that's not going to get heel heat on them. That's going to get some babyface pops for them, especially for a president with a 40% approval rating. And no sitting out there and trotting out George W. Bush, that's not really helping matters anyways because he probably still has an approval rating for his time as a president in the 30s. You know, if you're going to do that, if you really want to get heel heat on him, talk about the freaking troops. I know that's sacrilege for the WWE, but think about all the propaganda that has been pounded down people's throats in this post-9/11 world about the troops, the troops, the troops. Have Lana and Rusev talk about the troops just a little bit, and man, you're going to get some damn near nuclear heat on these guys, I assure you. So apparently, reportedly, there's a lot of backstage heat on Mr. Randall Keith Orton for either sandbagging it or really trying to take it easy and doing his best to make Roman Reigns look bad in their matches on the live event tours right now. And I say this, you're fucking surprised? You know, Randy has a history of this, WWE. You partially helped nurture and create this monster, so you shouldn't be surprised when this type of crap happens. As far as Roman Reigns versus Kane, is what it is. Don't have a lot of interest in seeing it. I am somewhat interested in seeing Roman Reigns versus Orton at SummerSlam. It has storyline reason for it. I think it's a signature victory for a Roman Reigns, assuming you go there, even though I don't think it's the best thing for Roman Reigns to be doing at this time. It's definitely not the worst thing he could be doing at this time. And my whole thing about this is at least they had Orton come out and be aggressive, go after him, be on the attack nonstop. They made Reigns actually look somewhat vulnerable here, which is something that I think they needed to do. The only thing I say yet again is that Randy, a 50% break ratio isn't good for trying to hit your RKO on the table. If you can't do it the first time, don't do it at all.
Hey, Randy, let's play a game. It's called the knock-knock game. Knock, knock. Who's there? Roman. Roman who? Roman's gonna beat your ass all over SummerSlam, Randy Orton. That's who. Roman, it's okay. You let him get one over on you, but that was just a battle. You're gonna win the war because Roman Reigns rules, bitches. Roman, love yous. Call me, Roman. Call me.
I love the decision by the WWE to have the Stephanie McMahon Brie Bella showdown actually happen on the main event of the show, especially considering they had already teased it earlier on in the night and they didn't go there. They had promoted it throughout the night. They set this up very nicely, and while I still don't want to see this match at SummerSlam, and I don't really care, I will not deny that this is making for some really good entertaining television, in spite of what the ratings might have said for this week's show in the third hour, and the ratings drop, the viewership drop in that third hour. This was really good television. The WWE has something here. It's got Stephanie McMahon involved in her bitch mode role. You've got Brie in that babyface role where people associate her with Daniel Bryan. I find it fascinating. AJ Lee she appears, people chant for CM Punk. Why are there no Daniel Bryan chants for Brie Bella? Just pointing that out. But again, this made for really good television. You know where this was going. You knew what this was setting up to. You knew how this was going to kind of turn out. But it still worked, and it worked incredibly well. And it was a really hot way to finish off this show. It's these type of creative things that when the WWE does them, they can still do them right and generate a lot of interest and anticipation for a feud and a big match. And at this point in time, one of the big money matches for this company is easily Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella at SummerSlam. So like I said at the beginning, this was a mixed bag Raw for me. There were some very good, entertaining, well-done segments on this show, and some stuff that I frankly didn't like, that pissed me off, that could have been done entirely differently, and one thing that I still find to be totally unbelievable. But at least I will say this from a positive standpoint for the WWE with this week's show, is that they touched on a lot of different things pertaining to SummerSlam, and in general, I feel like in most cases, they're doing a good job of building up interest in their big summer show, and that has me feeling a little bit encouraged about the type of show we're going to get next month with SummerSlam 2014.